Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy, and this is as impromptu as it gets. And I'll tell you why. Not even more than a minute or two ago, I realized that somehow this live stream was scheduled for tomorrow and not today, as I intended to do this live stream. So I'm here, ready to go, and we may not get. I have 0 people watching me right now. I'm talking to myself. Now you're probably watching me on the replay, but I'm going to let people roll in. Let's see if we get some people in here. It may not be much of a live stream if that is the case. So for the one person watching me right now, thank you for showing up, and sorry about the mix up on the date that I just figured out a minute before I went live. If you are other than the one person watching me live, please submit your questions in the chat. If you have any questions you want to ask about eBay, if you are watching this after the fact, please comment down below. And whether you're answering a question or adding one of your own, please do that. It certainly does help the quality of this live stream. And of course, it does help the interaction between you guys either during the video or after the video certainly does help. And again, I don't know how good this live stream is going to be. I may have to do it again at another time because I totally goofed when I set this thing up, and I realized the minute before we went live that it was for tomorrow and not today. So I'm here, I'm ready to go. See, Tommy's in the house. Tommy Bernhard podcast. Hey, Tommy. Thanks for showing up. Sorry about the impromptu, guys. I am trying to allow people kind of roll in here. Normally, we get about, I'd say, 50-ish plus, depending on the topic at hand. I know sometimes we get into more, I'd say, more topics that involve a lot more niches and stuff. We get more people, so I see people rolling in, so that's good. We have about 10 in the on the video right now. We have Victor Wawiorka. How you doing? Thank you for hanging out with me today. And again, this may not be a very long live stream. It all depends on you guys, and certainly I would appreciate you guys just give me your questions, and that will help extend the live stream a little longer. We have One Man Show. Hello there. All good, understandable. Appreciate that. No One Design Too. Hey, John. Great day. So far, so good for me. We have like I said before, maybe on the last live stream, Jenna is currently working. She's upstairs in her office, and she's going through some training with the company she's working for. And it has kind of changed my routine because we find that, we're going to bed earlier, getting up a little earlier. When you're this entrepreneur, you can just kind of work whenever you want. You can say, you know what, I'm going to work at night, stay up till 2 a.m. and get up whenever I want. And that's up to you if you want to do it. And I think I was guilty of doing that for the longest time. But over the last couple of weeks, I've found that I'm getting more done by having more of a schedule, getting up earlier, getting my stuff done earlier. I'm getting just more things done and getting finished if I want to a little earlier. But for me, you can ask Jenna or anybody else who knows me. I am constantly just finding things to do. You can never run out of things to do as a reseller. There's always something that you can do. And for me, this is kind of what I like. I enjoy it. I don't have that 9 to 5 grind mentality where I'm dreading, I'm looking at the clock, wondering, is it 5 o'clock yet? Is it break time yet? For me, I get my breaks whenever I feel like them, but I enjoy what I do. And I think that this new schedule, though, is really helping. We have cool videos today. How you doing? We have Sherry Lorraine. Hi, you. I appreciate it. And then cool videos today says, how have your sales been today? Like crickets on my main account. I listed about 10 items this morning. I now toggle between 2 different accounts. So I'm listing more of my items, more of these patches, these patches. I'm listing maybe about 30 to 40 a day. And I've sort of developed a system that works where I can find the information for what these patches are and their origin and all that stuff. And on that account, I'm getting a lot of traction, and I'm trying not to sacrifice the time that I need to take on my main account, because that's my, my main bread and butter. But that other account is really thriving. I think I have about 175 items up, and that's with auctions. So a lot of that stuff is already selling and ending. So thank you for mentioning that. We have one busy mama to you. Hi, John and everyone. Hello. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Real quick before I get into any kind of questions, any more comments you guys have, and I'll try to keep up this time. And that is a couple things I wanted to kind of talk about. And my theme in my videos and the topic of discussions with the live streams have really been focused on, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it is the summer slowdown period. And it's focusing on things that you can do within your control to kind of maybe make up for the slow sales. And one topic was best offers. I get people who comment all the time, even on the more recent ones, because we're talking about these things, and saying that it's not worth their time. And, they get a lot of nothing but low ballers, and it's just not worth it to them. And I just kind of wonder, are they not interacting with the buyer? Because see, it's sort of like this. You get zero chance to interact with your buyer before they choose to buy your item, unless they are reaching out to you, expressing some interest through the best offer system. And even if you're getting lowballed, right, you can come back with a counteroffer and maybe explain your position as to why, you need to be into the item for this price. Maybe point out benefits of this price. Say, hey, this is a good item. Whatever it is, it's your one chance to at least maybe turn a non-sale into a sale, whereas your listing is all it is. The buyer sees your listing, they decide if they want it or they're going to move on. And I think best offer is a good tool, but I think what's happening is, a lot of times people complain, well, yeah, I'm best offers. And, eBay hasn't implemented the whole instant payment thing yet for everyone. So we're still dealing with buyers who don't pay. And I wonder if that's because I don't get a whole lot of those. They come every once in a while, I do, but for the most part, I don't get a lot of those where they don't pay. And I wonder if it's because buyers want it now. This is, they're finding something that they need. They're coming to you. They're trying to get a deal on it. And they send that best offer. They might look at some other listings while they're waiting for you to get back to them, but you haven't gotten back to them. They still have that need. And then they go on and find another item cheaper. And then here we go. You approve the best offer and they never pay for it. Or they come back, like I had this one person who I accepted a best offer, and then they came back and said, I want to cancel due to finding it at a lower price. And that's because I gave them enough time to find it at a lower price. So I think that's where a lot of our maybe non-payers for the best offers come into play, and that can be avoided. So what I like to do when I wake up in the morning, before I run my shipping labels, I usually have about 10 to 20 best offer opportunities. eBay will put that in my summary. I always like to look at my summary before I get started. And I have a template. I have like a little Word document, and I have all these prefabbed things that I like to keep where I can just copy and paste. So I have one for that. So I just copy and I paste my little, hey, this is, in fact, I'll read it to you here. Here's your chance to get a great deal on this item. We're offering a steep discount to only a limited number of interested buyers. We have a very limited quantity of these, and once they're gone, the sale is over. Don't miss out. And that's creating a sense of urgency to your prospective buyer. You're kind of playing a psychological game on them. I tend to find that works rather than using eBay's just prefabbed comment. But I do that for the 10 to 20 that I get, and I find that if I'm quick enough from the time that they put in the, maybe they clicked on as a watcher, and that's sending offers to watchers, that is. if I'm quick enough, I'm more apt to get the sale. Now, of course, best offers, we're kind of talking about that. Timing is involved in there too. Again, if you're not quick to answer, have it on my phone. You should have it on your phone too, the eBay app. And if you get an offer, it'll give you a notification. Don't sit on it. Check your phone every once in a while and just see what kind of activity you have. If you're out and about, maybe you don't have time to really be in front of your computer the whole time, but constantly check your offers, because it's fine to get an offer, but if you wait until 12, 18 hours have passed, chances are that person has already found a need, they filled that need, and they don't need it anymore, and you've kind of unknowingly put the buyer in a kind of a weird position. And I think that's why we're getting a lot of non-payers on best offers. But those are the kind of cons, I think, between the low balls and the people that don't pay. But I think they're all opportunities. And I think if we just look at how we handle best offers, maybe we change the way we interact with best offers, maybe be more proactive when we get a best offer and just not sit on it, I think it will help your conversion rate. So I want to know what you guys think. Comment down below. Another thing also, and I mentioned it on a previous video, you can have best offer set for all your items, but if your initial price is too high, no one's clicking on your listing anyway to see what you have to say, or even to make you a best offer, because in their mind, you want $39.99 for an item that's only been selling for $30. They can go somewhere else. They don't need to make an offer to anyone like, maybe your offer is only 35. I do know that there's been some people in the past, I think as recently as November, who are also complaining that I guess buyers have been told, and I don't know if this is still happening, but when they submit a best offer to you, it tells them, are you sure you want to offer $20? The average offer price for this item is $18.58. And that's kind of alarming to me, because how does eBay know that? And when you click 1858 or whatever it is, whatever eBay's telling you to do, it accepts the offer. Now, remind you that when we're setting up our best offers, you can put in an auto accept value for that. And I'm wondering, and I don't know if eBay's fixed this or not. I don't know if it's still happening, because I don't buy a whole lot myself on eBay. But for them to even have that data to have an idea what you're willing to take as your low ball range, I think it's kind of wrong to even give that as a hint to your buyer. And so there's a lot of things about best offer that's turned people off, but I think it can be a valuable tool if you're on top of your account. If you're just doing this passively and you're not spending the time you need to on your eBay account, a lot of these things we talk about really aren't going to work. You need to do your part and be right on top of things. So just wanted to put that out there about best offers and to see what you guys think on that. So let's see what else. Who else do we have here today? We have about 30 people in the live, and that's kind of expected. Again, you guys are coming in late. It's my fault, because again, I had the live stream set for tomorrow at 2:00. And about a minute before going live, I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Today isn't the 9th. So I just switched it real quick because I was ready to go. And so here we are. So I'm assuming people are going to join us as we continue. But bring your questions. I want to talk some eBay today. Thinking about doing it for till about 3:00 Pacific time, 6 Eastern. But we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Who do we have? We have No One Designed To says procrastination is a business killer. It is. If you kind of treat running your eBay store as just a secondary thing, if it's your primary thing. I mean, if it's, if you're working your 9 to 5 and you do this on the side, I get it. But if, this is what you do and you think this is your chance to be like on early retirement, work whenever you want, you can technically do that. But your competitors, the ones that are succeeding, are getting up and they're going. They're getting listings up. They're answering their best offers in a timely manner. While you're sleeping in, those best offers are coming in and you're missing them. So just something to consider. And I do agree with that statement. One Man Show, I have heard advised to put best offer on everything unless the margin is very slim. sales are good without having to move product. I agree with that. You'll rarely find drop shippers use best offer because they're already in for like 4 or 5% margin. If you are actually buying the items, storing the items, listing, photoing the items, you need to be in for a lot more than 5 to 10% margin. You need to be looking at items that are going to get you 30, 40, 50, 60% or more. And that's after your eBay fees, after your shipping, after your cost of goods. And really, you can't control your eBay fees. I mean, you're going to get hit for a certain percentage. Your shipping, pretty much the same thing, whether you're offering free shipping or having the buyer pay for free shipping. That's sort of it's going to be the same price pretty much where you ship it to within the United States. It's really about your cost of goods, finding good options, good items to sell that's going to cost you a lot less than it is that you're going to sell it for. If you're buying stuff where you're only making 10 to 20% on your margin, I think that's going to be tough unless you're dealing with fast moving stuff like high-end electronics or something that has a lot of interest. Stay away from the low margins, at least in my opinion, from what I sell. Again, everyone has their own business model, but it certainly is something that you want to consider. Tommy says, yeah, I don't work consistently. I piddle around for 12 hours a day, probably actually work 4. I have zero discipline. It's easy to get distracted. So I have my setup here. I have my monitor here. I have another monitor here, and I will literally have YouTube on this monitor, right? And I always kind of listen for or look for videos that are going to be longer, so I don't have to look for another one. And I'll let it play, and I'm working here. So, I've gone in the garage already, and I have a TV in there too. I'm taking photos, I'm doing my thing. Maybe I have the music on, I'm rocking out, and then I'll either list on my app, which I usually do, and then come in here and edit the listing. So while I'm editing the listing, I have all these distractions going on. Yeah, I could be more efficient too. And I'm sitting here preaching to you guys. It is very easy to be distracted when you're doing this business. That's definitely for sure. And there's no boss telling you, hey, you're screwing up. You have to really be your own police on that. So I'm looking at a situation where I'm trying to get more done in my day. I want to be able to get up at a good time, a good hour, have most of my listings done by a certain hour, have my shipping done, because see, I'm down here with these loud tape guns and I don't want to disrupt my wife upstairs. So I am now getting like 100% of my shipping done as the last thing I do for the evening. And I'm just finding that I need to sort of arrange my day in sort of a step-by-step thing that I follow every day. And whereas before I was just kind of winging it. Justin's in the house from South Carolina, I believe. And we have, let's see, Eduardo Boas. How you doing? Thank you for showing up and hanging out with us. We have about 36 people. So that's kind of about what I thought we'd be at with this sort of last minute notice. Again, I'm sorry to those of you who are planning on being here for the live on Thursday. Today is when I planned on doing it, so that's why we're doing it. And that's 100% on me. One Man Show says, I'm learning about second eBay accounts. I may make one soon to just sell my art. And I would suggest, if you're kind of an everything seller like me, if you then find something that is more of a niche, don't mix it in with your everything items. Create a niche account for that, because I'm finding that I'm getting a lot of these people who are buying my patches and they're coming back to me. They're looking back at my stuff, and they don't have to weed through a lot of stuff that they're not interested in. I think it's actually pretty good. I'm getting a lot of repeat business. I haven't had to send one coupon. I haven't had to do any markdown sales. It is like 75% auctions. And then whatever I don't sell at auction, I just list at a set price. And people are even coming into my store and buying those items that if they were lucky enough to be at my store a week before, they could have got it at like 99 cents. But they're paying now $10 for it. And I'm into each of these items for 10 to 20 cents a piece, each of these little patches and pins and stuff. So it's a pretty good little gig. And I really wish, I was talking to Biscuit Bud about this. He also has about the other half of the patches that we were able to pick up. This is one thing I really wish we had more of. And if you have any knowledge of anyone who has a lot of these collector's items and old patches and military stuff, if you're not interested, hit me up, let me know, because I'm certainly interested in keeping this niche store going beyond the 2,000 items I was initially able to pick up. Deportes en el Recuerdo. I hope I got that right. Got a good one for you. Sold a pair of sneakers, gone to authentication, authenticator, reject them for a reason. Shoe has undisclosed aging, yellowing, cracking, and separation. And I'm assuming that these are new sneakers, or they're wrong in their assessment. I'm thinking Tommy's probably dealt with the authenticators, but from my understanding, you really can't do a whole lot if they're rejecting your shoes. Maybe put them on a different platform, but certainly not good when they do that. Don't even know if they give you a phone number, anyone to reach out to dispute it. So, because they're holding the item, right? We have one busy mama to you. Received my t-shirt, ordered the blue with V-neck. Awesome. Well, Jenna has the black one, and hopefully, when she's not busy, next time we have a live stream or whatever that is, I'll have her wear it. But I have the gray one, and I saw that someone ordered a green one. There's really cool things you can do. And I know that starting tomorrow, Spreadshop is the name of the company that we're working with to do this. I think they're doing like a 20% off starting the 9th of June. So I will have the link, and I don't have it right now in this video for some reason, but I'll add the link here at the end of the video. And if you just want to come back in or check out one of my previous videos, click on the link and check it out. You get hats like this, nice fitted hats. And, it does certainly, it helps the channel in a small bit. Your participation, you're hitting the like button, to me is more important than all that stuff. And so hopefully take a moment right now. 50 people watching, so you're getting more and more people watching. Hit that like button. It certainly helps eBay get the word out to other people who have no idea that flipping ain't easy. So the other thing I wanted to kind of touch on, and that is, it happens every so often, and there's nothing you can do about it. We do an inventory every 6 months or so. And of course, we've talked about this a while back about how I found at least 30 or 40 items that weren't listed anymore. But there's another side of that coin, and I don't know why eBay does this. And it's a well-documented thing. It's in the forums where eBay, for whatever reason, they're relisting items that have already been sold. And I'm not talking about sold last week where, oh yeah, I remember I sold this last week. It's like items that have been sold months ago, and it's beyond the 90 days. And you go back and look, and there's nothing in the 90 days. And you're going, well, wait, I don't understand what's going on here. It says it should be here. It's not here. I have like 700 items in the store on the one account. And you are then at the mercy of the buyer to have understanding when you reach out to them and say, hey, I just don't know what happened here. And I want to know if this is kind of something that's happened to you guys. It's called ghost sales, and it shouldn't happen. It's a known issue from eBay. It's been going on for a long time, yet eBay still will give you a defect on your account if you're canceling that listing because of, in their eyes, your error, your mistake. So just want to know what your thoughts are on that. How do you handle it? Now, I've heard all kinds of crazy stuff, reading about it in the forums where there's people who'll intentionally send the wrong item so that they can then come back and get in front of it and say, oh, I just brought to my attention where the labels were swapped out, and let me give you your money back, keep the item, whatever, to avoid getting a defect. The recommended way I would say to do it is to reach out to your buyer. Communication is 100% key. Most people are reasonable and understanding. And if you sort of explain, hey, there's a glitch. We did have this for sale at one point. We sold it a long time ago, and for some reason it's back up for sale. I can offer you a 10% discount or 20% discount on something else in my store. And, please let me know, what you'd like to do, or I have something similar. What do you want to do? Please let me know. And most of the time, people are going to say, just cancel, give me my money back and let it go. Sometimes people might be a little skeptical and think that you're trying to hold out on them because you maybe didn't get, as much as you wanted for it. But I want to know what your thoughts is down below. Has it happened to you? And what have you done when you've encountered that situation? I think it's one of those things, if you've sold enough items over a long enough period of time on eBay, that it's going to happen to you. And it's good to kind of talk about, how you handle it as a seller and what you do to make it right. So that's a good idea to talk about that. If you have any information, I kind of want to know. We have Alan Thompson. Hello, just about everything on my store is best offer. And I think it's a good idea, but best offers, again, really don't work as well if you're not on top of that offer. So if you're waiting, or if you just, I'm in the middle of something, I'll get to them here in a minute. That 5, 10, 20 minutes might be the difference of them going on and finding a different item at a lower price. Buyers have no problem canceling once they've bought your item, and then eBay shows all these other items, similar items down below after they paid for your item, and then canceling, right, for that reason. And those same buyers are not going to have any problem finding a lower price and just hoping you go away or don't, try to follow up on the sale. What do I think about Harbor Freight as a supplier? You have to really do your homework. So if you find an item that might be, in your mind, a good price, check it out on eBay, see what that same item is selling for. If you're buying an item just to make 10% margin, I don't think it's good. And the only way I would see you ever being able to go to a retail store, whether it's Harbor Freight, Walmart, Home Depot, you name it, if it's not on clearance, you're probably not going to make a whole lot. So sometimes you could find some really good deals, like at the Home Depot clearance. You see videos all the time where people go to Walmart. They have like these hidden prices. You look at the app, it's 1 cent when it says it's $10. You can make money if you really do your homework and your due diligence. But in every one of those scenarios, people are checking it against the sold comps, whether it's on Amazon or eBay, to determine. And after fees, after shipping, if there's free shipping involved or whatever, you're not making 30% or more, I wouldn't mess with it. So that's a tough question. I've never sourced with Harbor Freight. I do know there's a lot of people who drop ship, which is a very intriguing thing for someone. It's hard to get good suppliers to drop ship, but eBay is totally against it. It'll ruin your account if you're caught drop shipping. And you really have to be careful of things like running out of stock, stores running out of stock, and you're selling it and you have no way of getting that same item. And now here we go. It's like the ghost sale thing we're talking about. You're getting a defect on your account. If eBay was a little bit friendlier with it, there's software out there that does keep track of inventory. I would actually open a store and do that because I've done it before and it's really easy. You don't have to ship nothing. You don't have to really do a whole lot of anything. You can even use their stock photos. Again, eBay frowns upon that as well. But, and that's the funny thing about eBay. They're talking about sellers who use stock photos. It's a bad thing. But you literally have thousands of sellers out there who don't have the product in hand. They're drop shipping. They're using stock photos. Yet if one of us off the wall sellers who may have the product in hand uses a stock photo to illustrate, what they're selling, shame on you. It's not a level playing field. And I think that if eBay supported drop shippers, I would be more pro drop shipper, if that makes sense. Tommy says 100% everything has to be noted in the description. This is for the sneakers that need to be authenticated. 100% everything has to be noted in the description, even box damage, glue overrun, every single detail needs to be noted or they reject it. So, Deportes kind of write it off as a lesson learned. I mean, we're always learning from our mistakes, or maybe things we didn't know, or maybe things that we don't even agree with. But you over time will learn what parameters that eBay will accept certain shoes versus when they won't, and you'll know which ones to pick up and to send in versus ones that you won't. Justin says, I interact with all offers, low ball or not, doesn't bother me. And, I don't know why people get bothered with low ball offers. The ones that kind of irritate me, if I'm going to get irritated at any of them, is the ones that say, okay, I have this $30 item. They come at me for 10. Well, I'm into it for 5 plus, fees. I ain't selling it for 10. And I come to them with, say, 20. And I say, and this is the phrase that works a lot. How about let's meet halfway? Okay, that's reasonable. And then they come back at 10. So it's those kind of people who aren't serious. The moment they send you back the offer that's the same, I just in my mind say this person's not serious. They're preying on people who are desperate for sales, and don't be that guy or gal. Hold your ground to the number that's in your mind. So if you're in the item for 5, and now you're going to determine a lot of things like how long has this item been sitting here behind me? Again, I'm not opening a museum anytime soon. So can I get my money back after fees, after shipping, and maybe make a couple bucks? Fine, $15. Okay. But, don't feel that you need to be desperate. If you get to a point where you have that item that you have for 30 and you're considering that $10 offer, why not just lower it down to 20 and, give your pricing a shot with a serious buyer rather than taking a desperate offer. That's kind of how I feel about it. Again, the last video was talking to you, check your prices. I think a lot of us have our prices too high. We want what we've seen in the solds, right? But as we get on going into the summer, it's going to be, in my opinion, harder to make the sales because of it's going to be less traffic on eBay. People have less money to spend. People are talking about, I don't know if you're watching anything going on in the world, but they're talking about all this craziness going on in the world. You're going to have food supplies are going to be really low here coming up like by winter time. And we've never seen that in our lifetime. What is someone going to be doing if they have a little extra money in their pocket? Are they going to try to buy the expensive food that might be running out on the shelves, or are they going to go look for your, Bluetooth speaker that they may or may not need? So hang on. These videos are really designed to kind of share what I'm trying to do, maybe help you have ideas and get ideas so you can kind of persevere through the lack of traffic and the lack of sales that we're already starting to see. So hopefully this, talking about best offers gives you some ideas, maybe changes some habits that you have that might, changing your habits of getting back to a buyer right away rather than just kind of let it sit until you get home from work. That I think could go a long way. One man show, or maybe if they're watching the item, we can send offers before they can make one. Well, that you don't know who to send the offer to. And a lot of times if someone's just looking at your item, they look at your item like 3 or 4 or 5 times. I don't know what the number is, but if they click on your listing enough times, eBay is automatically going to assume that they're a watcher. And, we don't know who those folks are. You could do the send offer to watchers. That's what I do. I usually get about 10 to 20 of them in the morning, and I get about another 10 to 15 throughout the day. And I'm always on top of making offers to watchers. I think that's, again, if they're shopping for your item and they get hit with an offer, 5 minutes after they look at your item, they're going to be more apt to buy your item than if they get it after they've already looked, and then 12 hours later they get an offer. Doug's in the house. How you doing from the UK? Thank you for hanging out with us today. We have about 58 people, so it's getting back to normal, even though I was incorrect on my live stream date. Again, I apologize to you guys. Deportes says, today I received the item back and find out the authenticator slashed the Air Max unit bubble with a utility knife while opening the box. Wow. Yeah, how does that work? I don't know if Tommy, you know the answer to that, but if eBay damages your shoe, now how are you going to prove that? I guess you have your photos in the listing, but if eBay damages your shoe, how does that work? I'm curious on that. No one designed two on the summer slowdown. I've been doing this every year. I put my items that have been sitting for a long time, and I know that the cost of goods on these items are low. Do a massive 40-50% sale on them only. That's a good idea. Again, if you're sitting on like a 100 item store, 200 item store, do what you can because you're not you're not shipping a whole lot, right? If you're not making sales. So take that extra time and just really, it's what I did last year, really plug away at trying to build your store size. I think last year at this time, I was sitting around about 200 to 300 items in my store because I had a really good sell-through rate. And I was kind of just cruising with it. And I decided, I'm going to build my store up because when Q4 comes, want to be ready for it. And I'm glad I did. I had some really good months, and it's because it's a numbers game. So if I would have kept to about 300 items in my store, and then here I come Q4, I may have had only, half, maybe 2/3 of the sales that I ended up getting. These are all, it's a numbers game. If you have a 10,000 item store and someone else has the same kind of items and they only have 1,000, theoretically, they're going to sell 10 times more than you. Now, that's just in theory, but I think if you're looking at it as a numbers game, on average, that's going to be true more often than not. So the more items you put in your store, the more sales you're going to get. Of course, it's going to cost you more to get more items in your store, but I'm sure there's a lot of us that already have the stuff. We're just sitting on it and haven't listed it yet. LSGS Rob, at the end of the day, it's all about averages. You should always have best offer on. Who cares about low ballers? Counter them. 80% of my sales are from best offers, and I'll still average a good margin. Yes, exactly. Again, if you're not considering how long you've had that item for, would you, take some of your worst items in your store, okay? If you're into them for $5, just happens to be what you paid for them. If you stumbled on those same items at a yard sale or at a thrift store or in a large liquidation lot, would you buy them again at $5 when you can't even move them? Maybe you can barely get $10 and that's going to cover your cost of goods, your eBay fees. Would you buy them again? So with that in mind, why are we sitting on those items? Let's move on. Let's take note. These items stink. We're not going to make a whole lot on these, whatever they are. And no, next time we're not going to buy them. But guess what? We have already moved on from them. We've received our money back, plus maybe a small profit. And we've learned a lesson, because you should be constantly learning in this business. And if you're not, maybe you just got lucky and you're knocking it out the park. And here I get a message from somebody at eBay. This is one of those times I'm not going to be able to get back to them. So until we're done here. Tommy says, buyers who look for best offers are a different breed, in my opinion. Yeah, people are just trying to make their money stretch out a little bit further. We're all paying higher gas prices. We're all trying to, make more out of, or the same out of less. And it's, for some, we're at a point where I want or need that item, and here's what I'm willing to pay. And if that, and a lot of times it's seller behavior that teaches these buyers what they can get away with. So they come at you with a low ball offer because maybe they've done it before and they were able to make it work with a desperate seller. So it is what it is as far as that is concerned. No One Design says, sales have been great for me year after year on summer slowdown. And sometimes, depending on what you're selling, it's just fine. Sometimes Q4 for some sellers is not very good at all. I think if you ever watch the Crazy New York Driver show, he sells hubcaps and different automobile parts like that. And he says that certain times of the year, like Q4, is horrible for him. But we have people focusing on buying other things. So just depends on what you're selling. If you're selling a lot of swimming suits, you're going to sell more bathing suits, swimsuits this time of year than you will in the winter months. That's for sure. I've got a bunch of like jackets. A liquidation lot I purchased a couple months ago had a lot of sweaters, jackets, really nice ones. But I'm not going to even bother listing them until the end of August. And because I just want to be sitting on a lot of stuff, putting a lot of effort into listing things like that really aren't going to get a whole lot of demand or interest until fall, September, October. One Busy Mama says, I hit up sending best offers first thing in the morning too. Yeah, got to get them in the first thing in the morning, and constantly throughout the day, check your summary and then send a few best offers or the ones that are there. And then, at the end of the evening, before you go to bed, just make it a point to send those best offers out. And a lot of times you'll be surprised. You wake up in the morning with 2 or 3 sales. Thomas says they put offers in as many of the items they can find, take the first to accept and cheapest, and the rest go unpaid. That's right. So if you're one of the first to get back to them, you have a better chance of getting that payment than if, you wait until you get off work or later that night. LSGS Rob says, I've never had an issue with summer slowdown. Yes, sales will slow down a little bit, but year over year, sales have been better. If you're not using all of eBay's tools, you're missing out, which is why I've had people ask me, is it worth getting an eBay store? And if this is something that you're serious about doing long-term, whether it's part-time or full-time, but you're serious about doing it long-term, you should get a store so you can utilize the coupons. I am a firm believer in having that public coupon, because when that buyer clicks on your listing, it pops right up. That's one of the first things they'll see, use code, whatever. And that's an incentive. So if they're thinking, oh, okay, I do want this item and it's not really $39.99. I get 10% off of that. So it's going to be even cheaper. Boom, I'll take it. And also your markdown sales. I've noticed I try to run my sale from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. And then I start one over for the following month. I like to do that. I want to keep track of my sales, with the discount, the markdown sales every month. And there's times that I'll forget to renew the sale. So like the second, third, or fourth of the month, I'm going, well, how come it's dead slow? And then I'll look and I'm like, oh, I forgot to start up a new sale. And then a couple days after, usually it's not right away, a few days after I get that sale up, here come the sales back to, I go quote unquote normal, because, right now it's not normal. I'm getting, I would say in my account of 800 items, I'm getting about 5-6 sales a day, is kind of what I'm averaging right now. So to give you an idea, I am the firm believer that if you're kind of the everything seller, you're going to get about one sale. Now, depending on if your prices, titles, pictures are good, you're going to get about one sale per day for every 100 items you have listed. And I was doing a little thinking about this. I really think, of course, this is just a guess. A lot of the times when I talk about the eBay algorithm, I don't have any facts to support this. But if you do this long enough, you sort of develop your own conclusions on certain things. And when it comes to the algorithm, I'm a firm believer that eBay looks at your overall activity. How many items is this person listing a day? How many items are in their store? They're not going to, out of the blue one day, your 500 item store is going to sell 200 items. I think that in their mind, they know that that's not going to give a good buyer experience. If you get so overwhelmed, you're not going to be able to fulfill the orders within your handling time. So I think eBay does throttle within their algorithm, but it's always based, I think, in my mind, based on your activity, your listing activity, your sales activity, your store activity, that will determine that momentum that eBay allows you to have. That's just my theory. I've thought that for a while. I can't prove it, but I really am a firm believer that the algorithm is somewhat sophisticated. AI these days is pretty amazing. And while the eBay website is not amazing, and they're trying to make it that way, but it's still not amazing. I wouldn't doubt if there's a lot of their time and effort has been put into that algorithm. That's just my theory on that. Mashari Al Mohasen, I'm a buyer and I care about best offers because it can help me make a lowball price offer and the seller can counteroffer me. Then we can negotiate a good price to pay for the item I want. And I don't mind buyers like you. It's when you come back at the seller, they're trying to make an honest effort to negotiate with you. And then you come back at the same price. You offered $10 on that $30 item. They came back at 20 and you come back at 10. You're not serious if you're doing that. So hopefully you're not that buyer. And when they come back at, 15, actually, when you come back at 20, maybe you'll take it. Or if it's still not where you want, you're not offering 10 again, you're offering 18 or something like that. Doug says, question, I have sold an item to a buyer with 100% feedback rating, but when I checked, they have no feedback comments showing at all. Why? They might have their feedback set to private. And it may be more about the feedback that they're leaving than the feedback that they're getting. Because if they're getting 100% feedback, well, it also could be like a video I did a couple months ago, that false negative, right? Because as sellers, we can't leave a negative feedback, but an eBay frowns upon this. But you could technically go in and say positive feedback. This is a buyer who doesn't pay, blah, 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 blah. And the buyer, instead of calling eBay to get those removed, which you can get it removed, or you can go online and do a removal request, they just kind of go private with their feedback so that you can't see that they're really not a good buyer. So that might be why. Why Worka? Never go by what eBay suggests when it comes to offers. Yes, you're correct. The faster the response to offers, the better for getting a sale. 100%. And even questions like this guy, poor guy who sent me a message about something. As soon as this live stream's over, I'm going to get back. That's the first thing I'm going to do is get back to them, because how many times, and I don't know if you're one of those that get back to your buyers right away, but if you are, how many times have you received a reply back from the buyer? Thank you for your quick reply. These people don't know you from Adam, right? And it's like that old adage, first impressions are everything. Well, that sets the first impression. That buyer is learning something about you. If you are quick to get back to them, they're like, wow, this person actually is attentive to their business. They're serious, rather than if they get that, they'll send a message out and they never get an answer. What does that tell that buyer about you? And you maybe an innocent reason why you didn't get back to them in a timely manner. But whether there's a good reason for it or not, that's not sending a very good message about you, which is why you always want to strive. I mean, unless you're driving, message comes through in your app, or you're in maybe a crowded movie theater or whatever, and you can't get back to that buyer right away. At least when I do, I'll say, sorry about the late reply. Here's the answer to your question. Please let me know if you have any further questions that I can help you with. That tells your buyer a lot about you. And there's just as important as your feedback is, and it tells the story to your buyer who you are, the way you interact with them also tells the story about who you are. So definitely keep those things in mind. Let's see. No One Design 2 says, hit the like, guys. Yes, please. And gals. Please hit that like button. I certainly do appreciate that. It does help the channel. We have about 86 people as for the most last minute notice, no notice to anyone kind of a live stream. We get 86 people. That's pretty awesome. If it flips it, it ships one. Maybe eBay is sending 50% offers, and when they accept, eBay sends the offer back to us. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I just don't know. eBay is not as transparent about things as I would like them to be. I mean, if we were working for eBay, I would understand if eBay said, you know what, this is how we run our operation. You just list your items. We'll charge you the fees. We'll send you the money and just move on. But we're dealing with our own businesses. This is our business. This is, for many of us, our livelihoods. We have a vested reason to want to know the inner workings of eBay. And when eBay doesn't even want to answer questions, like I had made I made a little post, not a post, but I asked the question. They had told us to ask questions. So I asked the question, and it was read out loud. And then she said, this is a good question, right? So I'm like, okay, they're going to give us an answer to this. What is the immediate effect against a seller account when a negative feedback is left for them within the first 24 to 48 hours of receiving that negative feedback? And as soon as she started to answer the question, she got a text or something, and she said, oh, I'll have to pass this on. Of course, I never received an answer to that question. And I wasn't invited back to the next seller update. They didn't like my question, or they may not like my videos. I don't know. But, it's not a very transparent organization. And this is our livelihoods. What harm does it do to share, what does eBay actually want sellers to do and how they want it to do it? Why do they make us have to guess? Like half the time I'm telling you about the algorithm, I'm telling you what I think is happening, but it may not be true. There's no handbook. And in my opinion, I think there really should be at least an abbreviated handbook on here's what we really want you to do. Here's why your sales are probably throttled because we don't think you can handle the volume, and deal with it. But we're left to guess about it. And that's the thing that's frustrating to me and a lot of other sellers out there. Art Betzold, sitting right now on an item right now, waiting for a buyer to pay. After accept, sent 2 emails, not sure what else to do. Wait 4 days and cancel, relist it. Because if you've sent 2 messages, they've already bought from someone else and they've moved on. I hate to say it, but there's exceptions to that. Maybe they had an emergency and they just haven't looked at eBay, but chances are your buyers have moved on. Tommy says, monitor the listing quality report. See if you're gaining ground or losing ground against competition. Every 2 days, it updates best information there is to be had. And I have looked at that, but you know what? It wants to focus on a lot of things that, like the amount that I'm offering on best offer, or not best offer, but on promoted listings and on certain items. I don't really look at it so much, but I guess maybe they've changed it a little bit. I'll take a look at it. One man show. What do as a seller if a buyer does not pay on a buy it now item after you've taken their offer? Well, what does eBay do if they don't pay? They do virtually nothing. I do have a story. I was going to talk about it in a upcoming video, and I'm not going to really disclose a lot, but I came across my first unicorn that I came across 2 accounts that I worked with as buyers that are now no longer registered users. So we're going to talk about that story on another video. So eBay is doing things to buyers, but not to our liking as sellers. It almost seems like eBay does nothing. And I know eBay has this policy where they do not disclose what happens to a buyer when they totally ghost you and you have to relist the item. But how about a report? So for you sellers, last year we suspended X amount of buyers. We permanently deleted X amount of buyers due to bad buyer behavior, at least to give sellers some confidence that the system, if there is a system, that it does work. Let's see. One busy mom, I have in my policy immediate payment required, and 99% of the time the buyer pays within 5 minutes. Just a bit ago, I accepted an offer. I'm waiting on payment. And most people, are going to make you a serious offer because they want your item. It's just when you wait to accept that, chances are they've moved on. Mashari says, putting your items at the fixed buy it now price at a high price will get people to look for another listing, such as me, only want to find good deals. He buys Disney VHS tapes with best offer. You're shopping now. I'm not shopping later. So I'm shopping now with the purpose of achieving my goal as a buyer of buying whatever I'm looking for. And while it might be nice to receive offers tonight, I might have already fulfilled whatever I was looking for. And that's why you get a lot of best offers, or actually you get a lot of offers to watchers that just go on deaf ears because people have already achieved what they're intending on doing. Let's see. Go Time 55 is in the house. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. And thank you for hanging out with us on this last minute impromptu live stream. We have about 86 people. So that's awesome. Tommy says that he never looks at outside views. My opinion, and only my opinion, buyers have habits like everyone else. They sit down and open favorite place to shop and buy. True. Let's say you have that buyer and maybe the buyer just knows that I need that new pair of Nikes. And, I really don't buy a lot online, but I really know it's out there. They might do a Google search. And sometimes if you have the right price, the right photo with the white background, you'll get your item on Google Shopping, and then they'll click on it and, oh, it's eBay. But they don't care. They just want those shoes. So I think if you look at your traffic report, I think it's that blue bar that pops up. And for me, it's without that blue bar, man, my traffic isn't all that hot. So I kind of rely on that external traffic. Carol C says, I had an offer this morning on an item and the message from eBay said that customer selected a payment already. So it was a guaranteed payment. So whenever they pay for your item, it's guaranteed. And, I've never had a situation. I'm sure there's situations out there where people give eBay bad credit cards, or there's something happens to where there's a chargeback, an internal chargeback to eBay, but I've never seen that. I sold a pair of Nike Vapor Max sneakers. They went to authentication. People A couple of days later, I received a message stating they were rejected due to shoes has undisclosed aging. Yeah, Tommy probably is the guy to answer that. But again, they have it in their possession. So eBay is going to be the final judge as to if it's going to go through or not. eBay gives us outside views. Last time I looked, they don't give us data if it converts. We've had the data to be more interested. Yeah, that's that lack of transparency. There's a level of eBay where I think if you give too much information, it'll turn people off. But how about give us an advance button? If we want to dig deeper into the numbers, the stats, that should be there. And I know they have it. I guarantee you they look at those numbers. They're in touch with the traffic, the conversion rates for eBay as a whole. Why isn't it possible for eBay to give us, for those who want it, access to that level of information? Let's see. Just try to get some questions here. One Man Show says, never heard of the ghost sales. It happens. You can look it up. Ghost sales, if you sell long enough, you're going to find that I know that I have my item here. I have a pretty good inventory system. Every shelf behind me has a number, and I put that number in my SKU. And I am very careful about, before I end that listing or end the listing to actually sell it or launch the listing, I'll go over and place the item in that shelf, come back, put that number in the custom SKU area for the shelf, and then I launch it. Okay, so it's a process that I have in place. And when I make a sale, ever so often, and I'm not the only one that's done this, and you find it's gone, well, it's a big box. There's no way it could be just gone. Chances are it may have sold 6 months ago. And if you sell enough items, you don't remember every item you've sold. So, it's just a big mystery. And then we have, if it flips ships, all I get is ghost sales. Well, hopefully that's not all you get, because if you get a lot of ghost sales, then it might be more on you doing that, or your inventory system might not be where you need it to be. But it happens. I'm telling you, I've yet to meet anyone who hasn't had that happen. That sells quite frequently. LSGS Rob, anytime that happens, I just purposely send the wrong item and refund them in full, and then ask them if they would rather like another item for free. Not my fault. eBay has decided to glitch out. And it's sad that eBay would give you a defect if you did say cancel due to out of stock. I get it. If it happens enough, then maybe you should get hit with a defect. But come on, once in a while. And I know that one defect doesn't kill you, but again, they don't give us any clue as to what the algorithm's looking at. It's my opinion. Every time I've received a negative feedback, we talk about negative feedbacks not counting for much. I receive a negative feedback. I know it's wrong. I know I'm going to get it removed, but the next 2 days, my sales stink. And I really think that anything negative that happens to you as a seller is kind of taken out on you on the algorithm. That's just my thoughts. That's why I really strive to not have that kind of thing happen. Susan Maynard says, that has happened to me about 3 times, and eBay said it was not in their end. So far, I've been lucky in understanding buyers agreeing to cancel. But see, you got a lot of these reps on the front line that they're just telling you that to get you off the phone. They have no idea. They really don't. They hire these people that, I'm talking about the reps that are overseas that aren't allowed to sell on eBay. They have no selling experience, and they don't know. I'd rather have that answer from a U.S. rep that says, you know what, I sell 2 on eBay, and I've never seen it. I would accept that answer more from them than someone who has never sold on eBay a day in their life. Let's see. Tommy says, never had anything relist on its own. Generally, any issues are my fault. I can see what I did, usually if I look hard enough. And I can tell you that, I don't see how. I don't go back and take items that, at least in my case, the few times it has ever happened to me over the 3 years, a little over 3 years that I've done this full time, I can't even trace what happened. It's not like I went back and accidentally relisted an item and I meant to relist something else. I I just have never been able to do that. One Man Show says, I got my first negative review ever the other day. It said, game does not work on my PS5. The game was brand new, sealed, sold as described. Buyer never contacted me or tried to get money back. Yeah, that's sort of aggravating. They don't give you a chance to make it right, because sometimes, there are defects that come out of manufacturing and things like that. But to give you no opportunity to make it right is sort of annoying. What is eBay's phone number? Well, they don't have a phone number that you can call. You have to go to ebay.com/seller help. And then once you've done that, you go all the way to the bottom and should be need more help. And then you go to the bottom to the white button, click on contact us. And then you click whether it's a seller or buyer problem. Lately, you kind of have to click on buyer and because they've disabled all the seller options for a callback. But you got to keep clicking to find the reason for the callback. It doesn't even have to be the real reason why you're needing help. And you should find on the left that there is an option for a 1 to 2 minute callback. Select that, even if you're selecting it as a buyer, not a seller. And then that rep, you can tell them what you need help with. It's a pain. But these call centers, eBay is not in the business to do call center work. Most companies, and I've worked for a call center for 26 years, that company was in the transportation business. So they weren't in the call center business. They had no interest to putting all the money that goes into setting up a call center. We're more interested in routing the traffic to self-serve options rather than to have you call and talk to anyone. And I think eBay is sort of following in that kind of a line where they don't really want to talk to anyone on the phone. They'd rather you chat with somebody or find an answer, the way they say, find an expert for help, that type of thing. Let's see. Ryan Jeff says, part-timer 6 months in, most all items have best offer. That's good. Just be sure you're on top of it. Buyers can report you for lying and getting banned. Yes, they can if you choose the wrong reason for the cancellation, that type of thing. Game on Rockstar. Cool, my eBay is going slow. And I think a lot of people right now are dealing with slow sales. But the more proactive you are, and that's with your pricing and you're staying on top of things, the better it's going to be for you versus your competition, who's just in cruise control and not really on top of it. Let's see. No One Design 2 says Harbor Freight. We're talking about, we're given a question about sourcing from Harbor Freight. It's so slim on margin and the quality is bad. It's for it to move. And when you do find a gem, it's probably milked out already. And yeah, the only time I would really ever consider that as a sourcing option is if you're really looking at the clearance items and you're in the store with your phone, seeing that comps are selling and you can make more than 30% margin after your fees and shipping and all that. Wouldn't want a Harbor Freight quality with a 30-day return policy. No, not really. If they ever reach out and offer you returns, eBay can remove out their discretion. If you have no returns on eBay, will probably say that's why a customer didn't reach out. Yeah, if you have a no return policy, which you shouldn't have, and there's so many people who just are, they're convinced they have to have in their listings no returns, that can deter somebody from saying, oh, there's no returns, so I guess I can't return it, so I'll just leave the negative feedback. I won't even bother with it. But really, for me, if you have a no return policy, it doesn't make sense because people can get past it if they really, really wanted to. Let's see. We have Can PDX in the house. I don't know if that's PDX for Portland. That's the Amtrak city code for Portland. So that's how I know that. Hi from Puyallup, Washington. I'm having a hard time finding boxes and mailers for a good price. Any suggestions? So I get my supplies, and you can click on the link in most of my videos, and it'll kind of show you the supplies that I use. But I buy my supplies either from Uline. I'll buy some boxes there. I'll buy boxes also on Amazon. And my poly mailers I'll buy on Amazon. I think it's like for 100 pack of poly mailers, like 9x7s or whatever. You get them for like $20. And that's a place I'd recommend checking out. Let's see. Trying to get caught up, guys. I'm kind of behind, so I apologize for that. So Darth Maul TTV says, I researched prices and they're almost $2 more than sold. Pictures are perfect, measurements and description. You probably are dealing, when you're dealing with items in the sold comps that are like less than 10% margin, you're dealing with drop shippers 9 times out of 10. They're using the stock photo, and there's programs out there that I can choose 20 items and I can have them listed in less than 5 minutes. It does all the work, transports all the photos from, let's say, Amazon or whatever, and the description over to your listing. And all you got to do is hit OK, and it'll launch it to your store. And you can build a huge store that way, operating on 5 to 10% margins. But you have to be really careful, because once eBay's onto you, they'll shut you down for being a drop shipper. Flipping Goody says, Facebook shop and Instagram shop is booming and no fees. Why would you not sell there? Well, it's depends on what you're selling, though. If you're selling kind of everything like I do and a lot of other sellers do, you're not getting anyone that's looking for, random, like a phone case. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think for Facebook shop and Instagram shop, or places like that, is going to be more collectibles and things that people are looking for. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm ignorant to a lot of these things. Something I'll definitely look into, and I'm not against cross-listing. In fact, I have been doing cross-listing. I just opened an Etsy for my patches. I just opened an Etsy. I'm cross-listing items from Etsy. I'm also doing Mercari, because again, it's trying to get as many items you can on your item. So what you're saying, Flipping Goodies, is correct in that I wouldn't give up your eBay business. I wouldn't stop selling on eBay. But if you can supplement what you're currently doing on eBay with the current items you have for sale, and you put them on one of those sites, you're getting more eyes on your listings. Maybe people are like, look, I don't want to deal with eBay. I can't stand eBay. I won't buy another item from eBay. And it's those eyes that you're going to now be able to get in front of your item when you put them on other sites. Trying to go down here, see what else we have. No One Design says, if I sell clothing, I would never try and sell used clothes. I know there's a market for used, but I wouldn't touch it. Some people swear by it. And you will sell a lot at a low markup. Unless you're dealing with vintage and stuff like that. It's a numbers game. That's what Daily Refinement was doing. They're like, look, I have these $10, $15, $20 items I can sell all day long. And it becomes a numbers game. When you're selling 100 to 200 items a day, making $5 on each one, $10 on each one is no big deal. Yeah, kids' clothing don't sell very well. Get rid of baby clothing. Just my opinion. Unless you're selling them in lots, that type of thing. Tommy says, I wonder if Walmart just buys items to sell without knowing if customers have on enormous demand for them. I would think that they would have a way to follow what sells and what doesn't, and why they would clear something out versus just keeping it on the shelf. Miriam says that Terapeak is helpful, but if one word is off or added, it won't find the solds. Another tool that I was actually contacted on about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, from Zeek Analytics. They wanted me to sponsor their software. And I guess I will kind of discuss this here, because I did a lot of thinking, and it's not something I'm going to do, but it's a good tool. And I'm not, of course, getting paid by them to say this, but I was very intrigued by that tool, because they have a really powerful tool that allow you to do research on your titles, and it'll show you. So if I'm selling, like, let's say a Bluetooth speaker, and I put Bluetooth speaker in there, it'll give me the top selling Bluetooth speakers, and it'll give me the keywords, the top keywords they're using in their title, that you can maybe add, as long as your speaker has those features, of course, that you can add to your listing to drive a little bit more views to your listing. And I think a lot of times we just maybe piggyback off of the sell similar listing, and we don't realize that they threw new at the beginning, and they threw all kinds of unnecessary stuff or features at the beginning of the title. And yeah, their items sold, but we think our items are going to sell with that title, where it may not be the most optimal title. So that's a tool you can look into if you're looking at that. The reason why I'm not going to support it is because it's more in line with drop shippers, and anything that I will introduce to the channel, any product that I introduce to the channel, is going to be something that I've used and I think can benefit people, most people. And I just don't see the value if we're just using it for title building. But that's just my opinion on it. You might love it, and I know a lot of people who use it, but just for the average seller, I'm going to find things to put on the channel that most people really can benefit from. Darth Maul says, we've moved from clothing and media to clothing only, and that might be why sales are falling. We had 8,500 items with media, but I wanted a certain item store and not items. I wanted a certain item store, not all items. Okay, so like a niche. Well, clothing, media during the summer, I don't think sell as well as they do in the spring and the fall. But again, we're dealing with a slow economy, and I encourage, this is not a, I definitely, whenever we're talking about things that affect the world, I totally try to steer it away from who you voted for or who you support, because you know what? None of that matters right now. We're dealing with what we're dealing with right now. And with things that are coming down the horizon, I like to at least pass on a lot of the things that I'm hearing that are concerns for people, like maybe a bad housing market, food shortages, all that. Now, while that has nothing to do with eBay, it has everything to do with the amount of people who are going to have the kind of income to buy your items. And you need to understand that maybe you're doing everything right, but it may not be you. It may just be you're trying to sell your items, and there's just not the same demand that there was a year ago or 2 years ago. So that's definitely something you have to consider. And I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea of you selling on eBay. I just want you guys to temper your expectations, because no matter what I tell you on these videos, no matter what any other YouTube channel is going to tell you, if there's outside factors that you have no control over, that's hurting your sales, what can you do? So I just, and maybe there's a lot of you out there who aren't in tune with it as to what's going on with the economy. But if you're selling stuff on eBay or any platform, you really need to open your eyes, do your own research, find out what's happening in the world, because this may affect maybe the next decision you have to buy a large quantity of items. And are you going to be more comfortable sitting on those a little longer than normal? And it's a decision that you have to make if you're in this business. Winter Crow says, I'm sure we all have items that would never sell. Video games are some of mine. Someone just gave me your son's collection of 50, and I know nothing about them and have a means to test them out. I'm sure there's people that can give you advice on that. I've been there, done that. After inspection, considering the source, if it's your friend's son, chances are they work. You can even ask her to ask her son if they worked or if they're broken. That's where your comps come in. I know nothing about these patches, honestly. I mean, to find a patch like this, does this mean anything to anyone? How do I even begin to find what this is? So, of course, I do Google Lens. It shows me a bunch of patches from Disneyland, things that aren't even close to this. So then I have to reach out. I have to reach out to like Facebook groups, like the patch groups, post pictures. Can anyone tell me what this is? If anyone can tell me what it is, I'd appreciate it. You do your research, you find out what the value is on those items, and then you can then put it out there for sale. A lot of those games are going to work. I can just tell you, if you consider the source, they probably are going to work. They probably just grew out of the games, weren't interested in playing them anymore. And there's someone out there that's probably looking for those games. Carlton Leggett, I make 90% of my money selling used clothing and shoes. Sourcing is always available at Goodwill and other stores. Probably will do over 100,000 this year with clothing. That's awesome. It really is, because that is a very um, tough. It's a very saturated market, and if you're making that kind of money, you must be selling in pretty good volume too. Um, let's see. Tommy says, I use Zeek for a long time. It has been broken for doing store evaluations for a long time. eBay took a lot of the tokens away. I'd be curious if they fixed since I canceled 6 months ago. Well, they had a lot of. I talked to the CEO, the creator. We had a Zoom meeting, and he went over all the features. I was really impressed, but I kind of went back to, is this going to help the majority of the people that watch the channel? And while some features do, it just didn't seem like there was enough there for me to say, hey guys, try this product out. But if you are looking at little tool, I think it's like $39 a month or whatever. If you're looking for a powerful program that's going to give you some insight on your competition, see what Bluetooth speakers are selling for, and a certain competition, it is an eye opener. You see a lot of people that are really lowballing the market that are getting a lot of this stuff or are selling from China. In my opinion, I kind of think that's hurtful to the average seller that really, they have the goods, they're going out and sourcing. But I digress. That's a valuable tool that you can actually really do a lot of homework on. And I was actually even intrigued. You can utilize that tool to figure out, okay, if these Bluetooth speakers are selling for $20 and I can get them, Alibaba or whatever shipped to me, and I can be into them for $5 a piece. That is an intriguing way to kind of build a store around things like that. But it's definitely a program to look into if you're looking for opportunities like that. For me, I just source the way I source. So, and we'll be trying to give you guys ideas on sourcing here down the road. But for now, I'm just continuing doing what I'm doing, and for what I do, it works. LSGS Rob says, I sell pre-owned men's clothing. My average cost of goods is under $3, which is, I think that's probably where you want to be, right under there, because unless you're dealing with high-end brands, you don't want to be in for a lot more than that. Tommy suggests try trending plus 3% for a week. So if trending says 5.5%, try 8.5%. See if anything changes. If not, I'd start removing crap and replace items that sell. And this is a thought that's creeping up on my mind, because whenever I do my 30-day end item sell similar, I'm starting to consider, has this thing been sitting for a while? Maybe it's time to throw it in my liquidation pile, because I really think that eBay looks at your sell-through rate to determine, if you're just a average store, they're going to give you average. Views based on a lot of things. But if you have a store that really is kicking butt, has a high sell-through rate, you're going to get, I think, a little bit more of a boost in best match search than if you just had an average store. That's just my thought, but there's a lot of people who've shown me data that really make me think that's probably the truth. I used to be able to put, this is Tommy, I used to be able to put in competitor stores and see everything, sell through, gross margin, volume, you name it, and broke it over a year before I canceled. You can do that again, because he did show it to me. I do have a trial on it. It's probably, after now saying what I said, hopefully wasn't negative, because I do think there's a lot of positive things with Zeek, but maybe they've canceled my trial. But certainly it is an interesting tool, that's for sure. And for everything they showed me, it did work pretty good. Darth Maul says he charges for shipping. I wonder if that's hurting shirts that are $5, jeans are $7.99. Not really. I mean, you could just add it to your current price and say free shipping. Cringe. I mean, I do it for items that are under £1, and I think it's working pretty well. I'm selling a lot of smaller things that I probably wouldn't have sold, but everyone has to make that determination. I think there's an argument to be made for free shipping for small items and paid shipping for at least larger items. And then Darth Maul says, I thought it'd be to run a free shipping sale for a month. Never hurts. You can always run it. And then if you're not getting any traction, you can just say, go back to what you're doing. So guys, it's been an hour and 19 minutes, and I didn't think we'd make it past the first 20 minutes because I didn't give you guys any kind of notice that we're going to be doing this. But I want to thank each and every one of you guys for taking the time to hang out with me. We're like 83 people strong. We try to come out with 2 to 3 videos a week. We try to do a live once a week. Try to do it on Monday, like a motivational Monday live stream, that type of thing. But not always going to be able to do that. But I at least like to touch base with you guys at least once a week, so we can chat and you can talk to me about things that maybe you can type in, and wait for my answer. But you can not only get my answer, but answers from other people as well. But I just want to thank you guys for really being there with me the entire way. We're almost at 12,000 subs. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you're more than welcome to. Please hit that subscribe button. Of course, no matter what you do, whether you're watching this live or after the fact, hit that like button. It does help support the channel. I certainly appreciate it. And guys, all these things like best offers and, very few of you who experience ghost sales, these are just all examples of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your day and look out for a video from me here in the next couple days, but we will talk to you guys very soon.